Give me just a moment. I'm going to get into what has happened here in the United States. And it is unlawful, and somebody is going to prison. Somebody's going to jail. Hi, happy Saturday. I'm taking a break from working on my other channel, and I got so many packages. I don't really feel good, but I'm trying to push through and continue working. But I decided I would take a little break because uh, the United States is in some trouble. Pete Hegseth is in some trouble. Whoever pulled the trigger and unalived those two civilians in international waters, they're in some trouble. So let me tell y'all a little story so y'all can understand about the Geneva Convention. When I got deployed and sent to Iraq, our weapons and our ammo had to be accounted for. If you spent one round and you were not being fired upon, heavy suppressive fire, your life was not in imminent danger, you would be court martialed and sent to prison. So, there are laws that the United States has accepted and been governed by for years. Now, let me get some information for you because I like to try and give y'all information. So, first, we're going to look up 49 conventions and what does each cover. Okay? Give me just a second. Because evidently, people that are in the office of the presidency and anywhere else don't understand law, and I like to have the information. Now you can always look this up, but let me I know some of us don't like to read, but sometimes you just need to. It's not so much as I wouldn't have known about the Geneva Convention if I hadn't been deployed to Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom. So we have laws that govern the United States. To any time we are at war, we have to adhere to them, or we're going to face UCMJ actions. So let me pull this up. All right, the four 1949 conventions, what each covers. All right, the first Geneva Convention, wounded and sick soldiers on land, protections for those who can no longer fight, and medical personnel. Number two, wounded, sick, and shipwrecked members of armed forces at sea, naval warfare, extends protections to the first maritime conflict. Hold maritime because we're going to talk about that too. Number three, treatment and rights of prisoners of war. humane treatment, no torture, fair conditions, rights of captured combatants. Number 4, protection of civilians. Civilians in war zones or occupied territories, including non-combatants, refugees, and displaced persons. In addition to the 4, there are also additional protocols from 1977 to 2005 that build on and expand protections for both international and internal armed conflicts. So that's the first thing about the Geneva Convention, how it started, when it started, who it protects, right? Okay. Now remember I told you to put a pin in maritime. Let's get that. Now, now maritime also covers the sky because no country has specific they don't no one owns the sky. No one owns the water, right? So we're going to talk about that. And this is why somebody's going to prison. Several people are going to prison. They may not be going to prison right now up under this president, but somebody, Pete Hegseth is going to prison. And whoever struck those two individuals in the water, they're going to prison. That is exactly why you had those 6 senators from the Democratic Party tell you and make that video telling soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, do not, even the Coast Guard, all branches of service, do not follow illegal orders, because when you do, just because you say I got an order from my superior officer, there's a scary channel called Heavy Bear. I've seen New York Prepper. I need to go back over. I haven't watched them in months. I know about the New York Prepper. I haven't watched them in months though. I need to start back. But nobody owns the air or the sea, right? Okay, so let's look at this. Maritime law, law of the sea. Who controls what? These rules come from UNCLOS, the UN Convention of the Law of the Sea, basically the Geneva Conventions of the ocean. Here's the easiest way to understand it. So first you have territorial waters from 0 to 12 miles from the coastline. The first 12 miles from a country's coastline belong to that country. The country controls the law, fishing, resources, military access, policing, shipping rules. Ships from other nations can pass through, but they must follow the local country's laws. This is similar to national land, just on water. Contiguous zone, 12 to 24 miles out. The next band from 12 to 24 miles out is called a buffer zone. Countries can patrol, stop crimes like smuggling, trafficking, illegal immigration, enforce custom laws, but they don't fully control the water. Okay? 12 to 24 miles out, right? Number 3, exclusive economic zone, EEZ, is 24 to 200 miles out. This is a big one. From 24 to 200 miles out, a country gets special rights over oil, gas, minerals, fishing, energy production, but not over navigation. So they own the resources under the water. They do not own the water itself. They do not own the airspace. This means the United States can drill or fish off the coast, but can't stop ships from passing through. And for an example, there are oil rigs down in the Gulf Coast. These oil rigs are 24 to 200 miles out. So we can frack, we can fish, all of that, but we don't own that property or that water or that air. International waters, high seas, anything beyond 200 miles from any country's coast is global shared territory. No country owns it. All ships can travel freely. Nations must follow maritime law. Crimes follow the law of ship's flag state, the country the ship is registered under. This is why cruise ships often register in Panama, Liberia, and the Bahamas. They pick countries with easier regulations. Let's get a little bit into the airspace. What about airspace over the ocean? Great question here. Here's how it works. A country controls the airspace directly above its territorial waters, going back to the 0 to 12 miles. Beyond 12 miles is international airspace. No one owns it, but the international aviation rules apply. ICAO rules. Airplanes must follow designated flight routes, communication rules, safety protocols, but no country owns the sky past that 12-mile mark. Maritime law covers these areas too. Piracy, shipping accidents, environmental protection, underwater cable internet lines, military conflict at sea, fishing rights, submarine operations, offshore drilling. Everything is regulated under UNCLOS. Who enforces maritime law? There's no ocean police, but countries enforce their own waters. International bodies enforce environmental rules. Navies patrol for piracy. Countries enforce laws based on the flag a ship flies. Courts like the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, ITLAWS, resolves disputes. Okay, let me stop sharing. So there's some information. I know it was long. I had to read. It's important to read, Black people. Okay? But anywho, depending on where those boats were that Pete Hegseth ordered kill them all, which is a military term, just like one shot, one kill. That's how we were trained. That's why he said that. Can it be held against them? Probably. Though the Geneva Convention, those two men that were in the ocean holding on to a boat that was already in smoke and on fire, and then the orders were given to kill them. That's illegal. What Pete Hegseth ordered is illegal, and he's going to get dealt with. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, but it's illegal and it's outright murder. Now, I am so glad that there is no DEI hires, no black people, no brown people, except for a couple. And they're going to become the fall guys for this regime. But it ain't nothing but good old white men and white women in the cabinet and in the Trump regime. And y'all trying to whitewash this country using racism, xenophobia, homophobia, all types of phobias, everything you can think of. Y'all want this to be a white nationalist country, and it's not going to be. So I don't care how many ICE people y'all send out to hurt and harm black and brown folks. Donald J. Trump is not going to be president forever. And you people are going to get dealt with. Mm-hmm. Y'all gonna get dealt with, and y'all going to prison. I heard somebody, Darren Monroe Politics always says 70% of the cabinet in the Trump regime are going to go to jail. The other 30% are going to turn state's evidence on them. I'm getting hot for some reason. Hold on, let me see something else. Why am I getting hot? Wait a minute, y'all. So here's the. Let me take my hair down. Maybe it's. I don't know why I'm. It's like I'm flashing. I might be having a hot flash. So where does this sit under the maritime international law with what these strikes that just happened? It says high seas and usually free navigation, no country owns the vessel. The strike attacked a vessel on the high seas, y'all. It violates principle of free navigation unless lawful justification exists. Number 2, the use of force allowed only under self-defense, imminent threat, and armed conflict. The U.S. claims cartel equals narco-terrorists, but many experts disagree. This counts as armed attack. Highly disputable legal justification not clear publicly. Law enforcement. Boarding and arrest is norm, not military strikes. U.S. used missile strikes instead of capture and arrest. Contradicts standard maritime enforcement practices. Crimes at sea, murder, trafficking, prosecutable under the international and federal law if caught. Survivors reportedly killed, no chance for due process. Raises risk of murder, war crime classification under domestic and international law. Multilateral authorization required for lethal naval action on high seas. Boy, these people are dumb. No UN or foreign state consent publicly documented. Congress didn't Ooh, child. Makes legality under international law extremely uncertain, and likely unlawful. So, yes, what's being reported could qualify as a violation of maritime law, international humanitarian law, and human rights law. Do y'all understand that we are in these people? These dumbass people in the Trump regime have committed murder on the high seas. We don't have jurisdiction over the high seas, y'all. Today, another Republican quits. Let me see. Can I get his name? I'll share this video on my community wall, but another Republican has called it quits, and he's leaving the Trump regime. The reason I laugh is because in authoritarian states or countries, one of the top things that start to happen when that authoritarian regime starts to crumble is that their people start resigning. So you have MTG resigned, this next Republican resigning. If one more person, and there have been multiple threats of Republicans resigning. If one more Republican resigns, do y'all know that Moses MAGA Mike Johnson can be thrown out as Speaker of the House? Now, Texas ain't gonna do it. But if y'all have Republicans in the House and Senate of y'all state, see, they're too afraid to stand up to Daffy Duck for to Donald Trump. They're too afraid. They don't have the nuts to stand up to him. So they are resigning. Okay, if that's how y'all want to do it, fine. We need a good 12 of y'all to resign. Before the midterms. Preferably preferably right after the beginning of the year. Or now. We need those seats. The Democrats need those seats. And hold on. While it's not just about the Democrats and the Republicans in that manner, what's that man's name? Chuck Schumer and Hakeem both need to be replaced. They take APAC money. They're beholden to the billionaires as well. So while the Republicans are leaving, we need to force Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries out. Their asses need to go. If you're not fighting for your constituents and fighting for the left as a whole, then you need to go. So while the Republicans are getting rid of themselves, Democrats, we need to get rid of the do nothing Dems that don't represent our party. hmm Well, I've talked enough. I done gave y'all some information. Do with it what you will. But somebody's going to jail for murder. Now you already violated putting that darn war plans and attack plans in that damn signal group chat. And that's gonna come back and bite your ass too. Pete Hicks said Petey get Cake's breath. The drunk. I don't know if I need a nap. If I take a nap right now, I still don't feel good. If I take a nap right now, I ain't gonna be able to go to sleep later on. I did just eat Wendy's, but I ain't feel good before I ate that. I'm going heavy bear. What I'm gonna do is go back. You said that New York Preppers channel is scary. I don't see nothing scary about New York Prepper. I love his channel. I just hadn't watched it in a while. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take me a nap. Y'all stay blessed and stay safe. I don't know what's wrong with me, why I don't feel good today. When I woke up this morning, I felt good. I drank my coffee. I had a uh, Greek yogurt parfait, and then I just had my Wendy's, but I think maybe I ate too late, and that's why I don't feel good. I've been knocking back bottles of water. I just went downstairs and picked up my Sephora order off the front porch. I ordered the iPhone 17. I'm watching it like a hawk, waiting on it to get here. hmm let me see. All right, y'all. Let me go lay my ass down and take a nap. Y'all stay blessed and stay safe.